All right, we're live. It's the Android Headline Show, episode 84. Tonight is Wednesday, November 5th. My name is Jeremiah. I'm joined by Nick and Alex from the site. You guys want to say what's up?
What's up, everyone?
Yo.
So I'm back. I missed you guys last week.
Yay.
Yep.
Now we have
just
important
grabbed
things like date of the show and other stuff like that I always forget.
Yeah, Nick just doesn't want to host again.
Oh, wait, man. It was great. You guys did fantastic. It was a good show. Had Kevin from Android Authority. Alex, I know you're friends with him. So that's it was a great show last week. You guys held it down really well. So I got some much needed vacation time, and it was good. It was good, but we got a lot to talk about tonight too. All kinds of stuff, man. We were putting together the agenda for tonight, and at first glance, I couldn't really think of much that had happened. Because last week we had the Droid Turbo, the Nexus 6 and Nexus 9, the Nexus Player.
Last week was hands on everything, basically.
Yeah. Yep. We had a bunch of Lollipop stuff too, but then I started digging through and found there was a ton of stuff this week too.
Yeah.
Some of it carry over from last week, some of it new. It's a busy week, so I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a good night. I guess we'll just jump right into it. I'm sitting here thinking about other intro stuff I want to talk about, but let's just jump into some news. So OnePlus announced, I think this just went up today, that they had sold 500,000 ones, and they want to sell over 1 million by the end of the year. So their pre-order obviously was a bit of a debacle, as is everything that they do, but they're still selling phones. 500,000 units is not going to hang with Samsung or even LG or HTC at this point, but they're still selling phones.
Just think of how much they would have sold without the whole invite crap and just did pre-orders from the start.
Yep, just do pre-orders and tell people that your phone's not going to ship it. Maybe it takes 4 to 6 weeks to ship, whatever.
Or you could do 10 to 12 weeks like Google did with the Nexus 4.
Yeah, but that's fine. I mean,
Yep.
At least you know it's coming instead of like, why have to get an invite so I can buy this stupid phone?
Yep. Hopefully they realize that moving forward.
I think they did say that their next flagship you won't need an invite for, but then again, I'm just gonna wait until that happens to see.
Yeah, I noticed this week that they had a sign up for the limited bamboo backs, so I signed up for that too. But even that, you got to get an invite. So
I totally missed that. That's a shame because I really wanted one of those things for a while.
I can probably find you the link. It's just let's just like a Google form. You enter your email address and wait for them to email you and tell you that it's available. But it's a limited edition, a limited run. So once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not expecting to get an email about it.
I know 28 Mobiles has been talking about that they have the OnePlus One with the bamboo back cover, but it's probably sold out. I think it was only like $20 more than what OnePlus was selling the one for without the back, so it wasn't like super marked up or anything.
Yeah, see, I'm still kicking myself when they released them the first time because there was like 2 or 3 Chinese sites that had them that were reselling them for like $5 or $10 more than OnePlus sold them, and if I had just spent the $5 or $10 instead of waiting around, oh yeah, they'll eventually make them for us. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I wish the OnePlus could use like the skins from Slick Craps and D brand, but because of that back, it won't stick to them.
You probably can if you get the white one, and you can order the white and the other back too.
It'll work on the white, just not the sandstone.
Yeah, which is fine. My sandstone is good rubbing off, so.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick up a white one just to mix it up. But anyway, OnePlus is selling phones. We already know they're working on a OnePlus 2 or something like that. So they're not going anywhere, at least not this year or next year. Okay, so some carryover from last week. Android 5.0 Lollipop is now officially available. It's been pushed to AOSP, source code, and I saw the kernel source for a couple of devices available as of this evening as well.
Yeah, the factory images, kernel source, and all that stuff is only for the Nexus 9 and the Nexus player so far.
The other Nexus devices, the Nexus 4, Nexus 5, the 7, and the 10, and that's both years of the 7, 2012 and 2013, that's been delayed until November 12th. So we will see that next Wednesday.
Yep, it's. I heard yesterday it was being delayed, and now today we're hearing that it's due to a Wi-Fi bug in Lollipop, where it's basically giving you crazy wake locks on the Nexus 6 and even on the developer previews. I haven't noticed that on the Nexus 6 too, but I didn't think it was a big deal because I still had pretty good battery life.
And I'd rather they fix the bug before they release it to everybody. I'm planning on doing a little bit of digging and seeing if anybody's rolled a ROM for the OnePlus One yet.
That's literally what I'm doing right now.
Are you?
I
Okay.
know they have unofficial ones for all the Nexus, but OnePlus One, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been checking every couple of hours and nothing yet.
I'm guessing CM is downloading the. Well, actually, the code hasn't been merged in AOSP yet. It's doing a separate branch for the 6 and the 9. So it has been merged over to the master branch.
And OnePlus has said that they'll have it out to the One within 90 days. Most manufacturers should have it out relatively quickly.
Motorola might even beat the Nexus because it just leaked out today on the Moto X. So
yes, we saw that tonight. Like that was what, an hour and a half or something like that ago.
Yeah, something like that.
So pretty exciting stuff. I was a little bummed to see it delayed, but I have no problem with a delay so that they can fix some issues. It's definitely a situation where you don't want to roll out buggy code and mess people's phones up, and if there's a bad experience on this, it's going to cause a big stink. So let's get it fixed before we even push it out.
Yeah, Google's done that before, pushed out code that wasn't ready. That's why everybody's always said that the Nexus is basically like a beta product.
Yeah.
You get the new version of Android first, but you get all the bugs as well. And I kind of thought that's what the developer preview was for now, or part of it at least. So we'll see how it works. We'll probably still see 5.0.1 pretty shortly after, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a Google product. Forever beta, right?
Yep. Yep. So the Moto 360 is going to be available in stores November 12th also. That was, what, AT&T, T-Mobile. Was it AT&T? No, I'm just looking at the article here. T-Mobile. Who else is going to have it in stores?
I know AT&T is having it in stores. AT&T is having like everything in stores starting Friday.
Yeah, they're starting early too, though. As of the 7th, they're going to have like 10 new devices or something crazy.
The LG G Watch R, Moto 360, the Galaxy Note Edge will be there, like to check out and stuff, but it won't be on sale till like the 14th or maybe 21st. There's a couple new Windows Phone that are going to be available. HTC Desire I, pretty much everything that's been announced in the past month, except for the Nexus 6.
Busy time for AT&T.
That'll probably be the 12th as well.
Yep. So that, keep an eye out for that if you've been itching to get a Moto 360. The Nexus 6. So let's talk a little bit about the Nexus 6 launch. That was a little bit of a headache for some people.
It was
ordering the Nexus 6 in typical fashion. When a device is in high demand, it sold out in seconds. It was literally twice. So it
I was
literally
thinking
like yep, yep. You'd have the website up, you'd have it ready to go. Pre-orders are going to be available soon. You keep hitting F5, refreshing the page, waiting for it, waiting for it. You hit F5, and you can't order it. You hit F5 again, and then it says sold out, and you don't even have the chance. So the store didn't crash this time, which is good. They fixed that at least. But Nexus 6 is in pretty high demand and in pretty short supply. There are some theories about why, but the bottom line is Google is making more available every Wednesday until there's enough stock to keep them in stock. But
Yeah,
for now,
Google is now a Chinese company, like
Yes,
down
exactly.
east, doing these flash sales.
and I've heard theories about how Google has had to make stock available to all the carriers that they're
Yeah,
putting the Nexus 6 on.
that's
So
what I heard too. Is that they're going to try and push everybody to go to a carrier store and buy it, whether it's on contract or off contract or whatever. But I'd rather go to a carrier store and buy it because I don't have to pay for shipping.
that
See, I
only
don't.
works if the carriers have them in stock also, which is a big assumption because most of these big phones, there have been cases where flagship phones have launched in the past and carrier stores will get 5 or 6 of them, and you got 30 people waiting outside. Well, what are you going to do? It doesn't
Yeah,
happen often.
look at the iPhone 6 Plus. A lot of the Apple stores only had like 2 or 3 of those.
Right, right. So that works if carriers have them in stock. Supposedly, one of the theories, I guess, unconfirmed, of course, is that Google is making these scarce on the Play Store. One, because they have to. They are pushing all of their stock to carrier stores, so they don't have enough for themselves. But also because it's a little bit of a strong arm to get you to go into a store and buy one.
Yeah, and I almost wonder too if they've never really been a huge hardware company. They've been more hardware recently than they have in the past, but things like warranties and other stuff that you don't necessarily consider when you're thinking about a company selling hardware, they might be trying to push as much of that away as possible. Because
So,
if you buy it through Google Play, who else are you going to get your warranty through? You're going to have to go through them.
yeah,
That's
and
a really good point.
I've also heard a lot of horror stories about their support for that stuff. But you hear that with everything too.
Yeah.
Every carrier, every manufacturer. So
Yep. And I've had total opposite experience. So
I've never had to call in for warranty on any of my Nexus devices. So
yeah.
And they're fixing that a bit. They're replacing the screens on Nexus 5s. If you're still within that warranty period, and so
and you
some
have
of
to
that's
be in
getting
the
better.
US.
But that's
That's
true
the
too.
other thing.
But it is getting better. That's a great point though, Nick. If they can offload some of that responsibility, they will. Makes their lives easier. So if you want a Nexus 6, they're again sold out, and you can try again next Wednesday, whenever they go live. We're not given any kind of a time frame other than on Wednesday.
It'll probably be around 10 a.m. Pacific again, because that's when it's been the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Not at exactly 10 o'clock, because I think last week was like 10:37, and then this week was like 10:10 or something like that. So, in that time frame.
Yep. Well, and Google hasn't obviously fixed everything with their online ordering of Nexus devices, but they did fix some patent stuff with LG this week. LG and Google signed a 10-year patent deal to cross-license all their. I don't know if it's all, but to cross-license patents. Google and LG are playing nice, even more nice than they have been for the last couple of years. And they've got a great relationship already,
Yeah.
so this is not surprising in the least.
I think Google now has a patent agreement like that with just about everybody. I mean, because lately you've been hearing them getting into agreements like that with, like every manufacturer out there. even competitors. 'Cause I think they have them with Microsoft and Apple as well.
Yep. So, pretty cool. I always like to see companies playing nice when it comes to patents.
Yeah, it's nice to not have so many patent troll disputes anymore. Because we had a boatload for a long time.
Yeah.
I got tired of writing about that stuff.
Yeah, I know. It was getting old. It was like, okay, this week in court history, it's like, okay, I'm done here. Just stop the silliness, please.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody seems to have finally come to their senses.
Yep. So, any other big news stuff that you guys wanted to hit this week?
I don't think so.
That was the real interesting stuff that I could remember. So, cool. Well, then let's talk about some hardware. So the first bit of news on the hardware front this week was the Moto Max being announced today. This is basically the Droid Turbo on Verizon. For the rest of, well, I shouldn't say for the rest of the world. It's heading to South America.
Yep.
Mexico and so Central and South America, Mexico and Brazil.
Yep.
This new Moto Max is identical to the Droid Turbo.
Same
in every way.
Same Kevlar back, same capacitive keys. Really, the only difference is the name, the Droid Zap stuff that's on there, and the Verizon branding. That's the only thing different.
And the radios will be different, obviously, for carriers in those countries. But
and that's the thing for us that want to bring it, import it to the U.S. is the radios. I don't know if it'll work. I know the Verizon one will work on T-Mobile and AT&T, although AT&T is a little weird, but it worked fine on T-Mobile for me.
So can we talk a little bit about how frustrating these stupid carrier exclusives are? Because this is, other than the fact that it still has capacitive buttons, this is a fantastic phone. And the capacitive buttons really are not a deal breaker. It's just kind of annoying. I would prefer software buttons.
They're just the stock KitKat soft buttons now. Because before, I think before the Droid Ultra, the ones before that, they're like some weird looking capacitive buttons that Verizon made up. Was it the Droid Max HD or something like that? Droid Razor Max HD?
The Razor line, the Razor and the Razor Max, and then the HD versions.
Yeah, before they went to the Ultra and the Max, because those were on screen. But even when they went to the on screen, they just changed them up as well to that weird looking, capacitive stuff. But yeah, other than the capacitive keys, I would definitely pick this up as my next phone. Even if I didn't have a Nexus 6, I would get this because it is the Nexus 6. It's just smaller, bigger battery, but smaller.
Yeah, the capacitive keys just suck so much, though. I mean, how do you get to Google now, other than I guess using Google Experience Launcher and swiping to the left, right?
No, you
just
long press.
Yeah, you just long press.
Meh.
And swipe up.
It's just that like actually works?
Yeah, it's Motorola. Of course it works.
Not bad. I've just never seen a phone with capacitive keys that can actually do that. So nice.
Yeah, it works on that and the ZT Max. It works on there too, but that's stock Android as well.
Okay, well, if that's a trend that continues, because I know you can't do that on the OnePlus One, so that's I just assumed.
Well,
that's pretty much a brand new phone,
It's a requirement from Google now, so.
Beautiful.
I don't know how Samsung's going to get around that with their hardware home button, though.
Well, I know for a while they've had swipe up from the home launcher, but that was actually built into the launcher. So yeah, I don't mean.
Yeah, swiping up doesn't work on the Note 4 that way. But holding the home button gets into it, so it's not quite the same. I don't know if Google will let them get away with that.
If you hold the home button, is it still the little G logo on the bottom?
No, you just hold it and it goes. Well, you can't really see it, but it just goes straight into Google.
It goes straight into it. Okay.
Because you have the because you have the recents button now that goes into the recents apps,
Yes.
and it just looks like Android L, at least on the Note 4. You know that recents are
Yep.
just look like Android L.
I was so bummed though when the Moto Max was announced, and then we heard that it wasn't coming to the U.S. Just because I would have liked to, I would have seriously considered picking up the phone because the battery life and the camera are both fantastic.
Yeah, the battery life I haven't been like super impressed by yet, but I think when it gets Lollipop, it'll be much more impressive. Because right now,
sure.
I've been using the Nexus 6 and the Droid Max or Droid Turbo, and battery life on the two of them are almost identical, and there's a huge difference. Bigger screen with smaller battery versus a smaller screen with a bigger battery.
Right.
So I'm guessing Project Volta will have a pretty big impact on the Droid Turbo.
Yep. I'm sure it will.
Yeah. Exclusives need to go away.
Yep. And in this case, it was absolutely just Verizon wanting to keep this to themselves. Everybody else gets the Nexus 6 and the Moto X, the new Moto X, and Verizon gets their own deal. And it stinks. It stinks.
Yeah, Verizon is pushing the Droid Turbo really hard, which is good for Motorola, but it sucks for everybody else that's not on Verizon and don't want to go to Verizon.
And they've always pushed the Droid line like that's their baby. The
to
OG
year,
Moto Droid was
compared to like last year. I mean, they're pushing it like about 10 times as hard as they did last year. Last year it was tough for us to even get a review in it. This year, I mean, they were asking me the day before the event if I needed one. I'm like, I'm going to the event, so.
Right. Well, I hope they sell a ton of them, and I hope the Moto Max unlocked
I'm
version.
interested to see Motorola's earnings come February, January, whenever they announce the Q4 stuff.
Yes.
I mean, because you got the Moto X, and I have a bamboo one here. So you got the Moto X, the Nexus 6, the Moto G, the Droid Turbo, and now the Moto Max. Man, those are some really good phones. Although the Moto X doesn't seem as good anymore.
Yep. So yeah, it's going to be a good quarter and hopefully a good 2015 for them.
I hope so, especially where they just closed the Lenovo deal.
Finally, yes. That finally completed. And I don't think Lenovo's going to make any big changes. They're going to keep Motorola here and keep their Lenovo stuff overseas. And
well, you've seen what they've done with the ThinkPad, so I mean, we'll probably still see Motorola as Motorola, but they'll have a different financial backing there.
Yep, and that's fine.
Their R&D here in the U.S. and Chicago too, because that's where it is right now.
Yeah, that's cool. That'd be cool. What else? So last week you had the Nexus 9 and the Nexus Player, and the G-Watch, the LG G-Watch R, which has officially launched. The G-Watch R now.
$299.
Yep, $300. But your reviews for the Nexus 9 and the Nexus Player are up on the site. So any new thoughts on any of that stuff? Because you had, the 3 phones.
I had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 phones, the Nexus 9 tablet, the watch, and the Nexus Player. Any thoughts on any of that stuff now that you played with it for a week?
Well, the Nexus 9 is kind of like a weird device because there's some issues here with it. Build quality. I know Nick shared that GIF the other day where somebody can actually push the Nexus logo on the back. You can't really do it on mine though. I've also noticed just using the camera, like the side over here gets really hot. I mean, it's not like it's gonna melt the plastic back or anything, but you can feel it getting warm. Playing games though, it doesn't get warm at all, which is weird. I mean, it's Lollipop on some pretty decent hardware. I just wish it had quick charge because I plug it into the turbocharger and it charges so slow.
Does it?
Just because of NVIDIA.
That sucks too, because the battery's like what, over 4,000 milliamps, isn't it?
6,700.
Oh God.
So it takes
And,
all night to recharge.
and
Literally.
in fact,
Forever.
the Nexus 6 will recharge in like a little over an hour or so. Same thing with the Note 4 and the Moto or Droid Turbo. I was gonna say Moto Max. Well, can do that too. Lollipop on tablet, like it looks good, especially with all the transitions and stuff. But man, the apps just still aren't there. I mean,
That's been the biggest downfall with Android tablets for ever. You know,
Forever,
it's
yeah.
it's great
And that's-
hardware. The OS is fantastic, but it just falls on its face when it comes to tablet apps.
and that's why I don't own an Android tablet. I review them, but I don't own one because there's just so many apps that it just looks like you're using a bigger phone, which I already have a 6-inch phone, so I don't need a even bigger one.
Yeah.
But the front-facing speakers are really good, and they're pretty small, unlike the HTC One, the HTC One M8 and M7. They're like pretty large, but here they're not that big. The Nexus Player, I've heard a lot of people with like bugs on it. I haven't really had any bugs. I was talking to Kevin, who was on the show last week. He actually got stuck in Asphalt 8 and couldn't get out of it. That happened to me either. Like he was having connection issues and stuff. Maybe it's because my Nexus Player is right next to my router, so it has like the best signal ever. But I haven't really had any issues with it. I do wish I had more games, but the UI is pretty nice. I mean, I never used Google TV, so I don't really know how difficult that was.
It's a
But
pain in
it
the
seems
butt,
to be
man.
pretty good. And I like the remote control app on the Play Store for Android TV, because you can use the full keyboard just from your phone instead of using the crappy one on the remote.
Yeah, I love when they do that stuff. Like I've seen a few smart TVs that do that, but usually the smart TVs are a little bit laggy. So
Yeah, I actually have a smart TV. It's a Vizio one, and it's a little laggy, and the apps are pretty much useless.
yeah.
I just use Chromecast.
Well, cool. I'm glad to hear you say that the Nexus Player hasn't been acting crazy on you. I've read a couple of reviews that weren't too excited about it. Just that it wasn't ready for prime time. So I'm glad that you're enjoying
I'm
it.
not sure it's ready for prime time because I'm trying to think of a reason to buy it other than gaming, which I don't really have time for. Because everything else the Chromecast does, so why spend an extra $70 on it? Because I mean, it has Chromecast built in, then all the apps there already have Chromecast support.
That was my thought. I liked the old Google TV because it had the Chrome browser supported Flash. Well, Android TV doesn't have that.
Yep.
So, what's the incentive to spend $100 or when you can buy a Chromecast for $35? That's a great point.
Yep. Like I'm still gonna keep my Fire TV for now plugged in the second HDMI port because, I mean, as far as I know, Amazon Prime doesn't do, or Instant Video doesn't do Chromecast, right?
Mm-mm.
I don't think
I've
they
never
have
used it.
an Android still, right?
I've never used it on Android. I've only used it like in the browser and stuff.
Yeah, the app is still the Instant Video app is still like very limited availability. It's not supported on most devices.
Yeah, I mostly
So-
just use it on the Amazon Fire TV, and I barely use it on that.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. That's some fun stuff there. So last week was so hardware heavy, and this week just a little bit of follow up. But
Yeah.
but that's good. That's good. Definitely head over to the site and check out those reviews. The Nexus 6 review will be up as soon as that's finished, and we're allowed to dive into that. So be on the lookout for that too. But let's talk about some software and some apps. So, first thing I want to talk about tonight with software is I actually didn't put it on the agenda because I forgot about it until tonight. This Google Co-Presence app or service or whatever you want to call it that we saw leaked this week. It's basically AirDrop on iOS for Android and cross-platform. So devices will be able to if they've got the app installed, they'll be able to detect other devices in their proximity that you can then connect to using NFC and a local, like an ad hoc Wi-Fi network, and transmit files, whether it's pictures or music or video or whatever. Works supposedly just like AirDrop. The key difference is it's going to work cross-platform. So Android, iOS, Chrome OS, we're hearing as well. It looks really interesting. I don't know if either of you guys ever used Bump, or there was another app called Hawker to share files back in the day.
Yep.
Those, yeah, they worked well. I never had any problems with them. Those also worked cross-platform. Google actually bought Bump a while back, last year at some point. I don't remember when in 2013, but this might be a little bit of coming out of that Bump purchase. But I'm pretty excited about this because it just would make it really convenient sharing files and stuff. So co-presence, we saw that leak from multiple sources. It's definitely in the works. We don't know when it's coming. Maybe I/O, maybe sooner. But keep an eye out for that too. Alex, your Android 5.0 Lollipop review went up this week out also. Deep dive into that. Talk to us about some of the cool new features in Lollipop.
I don't know where to begin. There's so much.
It's a big change, man.
One of the things I really like is the smart lock or unlock. Where you can use NFC or Bluetooth devices to unlock your device when it's connected, and that's something they took straight from Motorola's trusted devices. So like I can use the G Watch R to keep my phone unlocked as long as it's connected, instead of putting in the pin all the time, which is gonna make me actually put on a pin because I just can't be bothered putting that in every time I open my phone. Material design, it's really nice compared. I liked Hollow, but material design is just so much nicer. Yeah, it's so buttery smooth, but that could also be the 3 gigs of RAM.
I think being native art helps a lot.
Yeah. Let me see what else is in here I can talk about. The keyboard, I've actually been trying to use the Google keyboard because everybody knows that I just go straight to swipe. And I actually do like it a lot more now, but I think I'll probably go back to swipe after I'm done reviewing the Nexus 6. You can actually change the themes. I don't think you could do that on Google keyboard on KitKat.
I don't think you could.
But you've got, let me see if I can find the themes.
I think it's Holo Light and Dark and then Material Light and Dark.
Yeah, those are the ones.
Yeah.
I can't find where the themes are now though. But yeah, those are the 4 that you've got there. I've been using the Material Light. SwiftKey has both light and dark as well. One of the big things though is like with the quick toggles here. Before you had the long press in stock Android and long press the Wi-Fi to actually turn it off. They finally fixed that. Took them 2 years because they brought that in 2012 or 4.2 I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally got that straightened out. I do like that they have the ability to cast screen straight from the quick toggle now, so you don't have to use a ROM or anything to do that, or exposed flashlight as well as in there.
This is more of a Lollipop question than just a hardware question, but I know I've heard that double tap to wake works on the Nexus 9, but not the Nexus 6.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it to work on here, and I haven't found any settings.
Because I was under the impression that was built into Lollipop, and then some people were saying, that it wasn't or it didn't work or whatever. Or maybe sometimes it did work. I don't know. Like it was weird. Like it wasn't a consistent thing.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to find in like under display. Man, that's the lowest brightness too. Under displays there, and that's the lowest brightness. It's still pretty bright. I guess you can kind of see
Jeez.
it like that. If you turn on adaptive brightness, it'll see now. It's like you can't even see it. But yeah, I can't even find it on here. I've heard some people say it's on here, but I can't find where it is. It does have the ambient display though, so when you pick it up, it'll show your notifications and the time and stuff.
Yeah, that I
I
love.
wish I wish it was more like the Moto X though, so you can just wave your hand over it and it'll do it. But it doesn't have those IR blasters in the corners. Droid Turbo does that as well, which is really cool.
Nice.
Tap and Pay works because I actually used that for the first time.
I never use that.
I tried to use it at a vending machine. It denied me because the vending machines don't use MasterCards anymore. They won't take them, so everything I have is a MasterCard. So that's the only reason why it didn't actually work, but that works. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
No, and that's I just wanted you to kind of touch on some high points, man, because there are reviews up on the site, and the Lollipop changelog is available. You can really dive into that stuff if you want to, but there's a lot to it. I mean, it's a big change. So I wanted to hear some of your favorites.
Yeah, the dialer looks really nice. All the animations in the dialer is like mind blown, and I don't even use the dialer, so.
And that's
Because I
been
use
like.
Google Voice.
That's been such a. I'm hearing that everywhere. It's been
Yeah.
such a talked about thing now that Android is smooth. Everything looks great. All the animations, all the transitions, everything is really smooth and really good looking. And Android's really kind of matured and come into its own with this OS update, just aesthetically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's
still a little bit of lag, but I found that's like, every once in a while, and if I clear out some apps, it'll, in recents, it'll be fine. But it's mostly in the camera. Like if I open up the camera or the Photos app, because now there's only one gallery app pre-installed. Before you had like gallery and photos, but now it's just photos. Google plus photos. But that's the only time I've actually seen lag is in the camera, so I'm hoping an app update will fix that, since that's in the Play Store.
Yep, and it's not like other popular mobile operating systems have zero lag either. So
Meaning this,
let's remember that too.
mean this.
No.
Yes, TouchWiz. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Oh, he means
um,
Windows Phone.
Yes, Windows Phone and BlackBerry too. That's pretty
So
laggy.
the Gmail app on a tablet, man, that thing is nice. It looks just like the iPad version.
Which is a big deal. I mean, we've talked about it before. How
Look kind of like
iOS and apps are updated and sometimes look better than Android apps. As far as Google stuff goes, like Gmail and Calendar and stuff like that. So
yeah,
yeah.
and
I was gonna say I'm also seeing some other apps that I didn't expect to put in some material design stuff, like the Twitter app. Now they've got the tennis status bar. Also, the pop-up from when you go to retweet something, that's also hollow, or not hollow, is material now instead of hollow. But that's about it for material design from them.
yeah, and we've
Which
been
is
seeing a lot
super
more app
surprising.
updates from Google too.
a ton of app updates from
heard-
Google.
I heard that internally, everybody was supposed to have their Google app updated to material design by like the 3rd. So I guess some people didn't make it.
But that means that this week and next week we'll see a ton more of those app updates.
Hey, Maps got theirs today with Uber and OpenTable integration, and that was pretty big.
Yeah, and Maps looks nice now. And you know what? It's kind of silly, but I think one of my most favorite parts about this app update is they finally stuck the navigation drawer in the right bloody place. It was always this weird, ugly looking like Android 2.0 tab in the bottom left. Like I don't know what the heck
Yeah.
they were doing forever with that, but they finally got rid of that crap and put it in the top left, and it looks good, and it's in the right place, and yeah, they fixed it.
And you always had to swipe from like that area at the bottom. Like if you swiped at the top, it didn't work.
Yep, it was really strange. It was really just completely different from every other app they had.
I think they just didn't care. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't think they've ever cared about design consistency, as
Yeah,
has been
until
pretty
the TS
obvious
got
in the
there.
past.
Yep. So what else? Lollipop, the Nexus 9 factory images. We talked about this already. The Nexus 9 and the Nexus Player factory images are available. Another big one this week for app updates. Verizon customers can now send and receive MMS in Google Voice. So when Google Voice and Hangouts were integrated, everybody got MMS support. And at first it was a little wonky, but they got most of the bugs ironed out. It works pretty well now. But Verizon customers didn't work. Or if it did, it was really broken. You could receive every once in a while, but for the most part, Verizon customers, it didn't work for them at all. That is apparently available and rolling out now. So if you're a Verizon customer who uses Google Voice, MMS is working for you now too. So, pretty big deal for them. As a longtime Google Voice user and a fan of the Hangouts integration, I'm glad to see that get completed for all the carriers in the U.S. But let's talk about some new stuff. I know, Alex, you had a whole bunch of new stuff last week, but what's new in your Android world?
I got a couple of things from Soul Republic. So I've got the Soul Republic Punk Bluetooth speaker here, pretty small one. Just got it a few hours ago, actually. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet. It has like a jack there to, put it on a tripod, which is pretty awesome. Only like the second speaker I've seen with one of those. And also have the Relay earbuds here, which again, I just got them a couple hours ago, so I haven't had a chance to play with them yet. But finally got some stuff from Soul Republic. I got the Note 4 since the last time we've been here, although I haven't really had a chance to play with it yet. But I've got the white Verizon Note 4 here. The display, it does look different from the Nexus 6. I think the Nexus 6 display is better, even though the PPI is a little bit lower.
I've heard that from other people too.
Did I talk about the G-Watch R last week? I think I may have skipped it because we were running late.
I think you skipped it. I don't remember you talking about it.
I got the G-Watch R as well from, see if I can get it in there, the G-Watch R. It's a really good smartwatch. It comes with the leather strap. Although I think I like the ones that Moto 360 has better, but it's better than the rubber that the G-Watch had. Battery life is really good. It's better than the G-Watch. I can get, probably 30, 35 hours out of the thing, probably more if I really pushed it. Because you usually take off the charger about 9 a.m., put it on the charger like around 11:30 midnight, and it still has like 40-45% left, sometimes more. Ambient display actually works like it should. Like on the Moto 360, it'll go like kind of dark for a little bit, then it'll just go away altogether. The G-Watch R, it stays on all the time, and that's how I've been using it, and that's the kind of battery life I'm getting out of it. So with that off, you could probably push 2 days out of it.
That's surprising and very good to hear.
And like the lag that you saw on the Moto 360 before that update, it's not here, but we also have a Snapdragon 400 in here.
Yeah, that's a big deal too.
I wish it did cheat charging though. That's the only thing. That's one of the things Motorola did right. Put Qi charging in there instead of like the pins that everybody else uses. Um, the review should be out Friday. I think that's when it's gonna go out. So it's a really good watch. It's $299, so it's not cheap, but it's a really good one. And I think that's about it for me.
Cool, good deal. Nick, what about you, man? What's new?
I finished up the Mizu MX4 review, so if anybody out there hasn't checked that out yet, feel free to. I loved the phone. It was really, really awesome. The camera in particular, as I will talked about, is really good. Just in general, it was a really interesting phone. I don't know, I liked Mizu's little version of Android. The modifications they made, for the most part, were positive ones. And I mean, overall, for under $400, you're getting really one of the best phones this year, I would say. I've now moved on to my Android One reviews. So the first one I started on was the Carbon Sparkle. I think it's V. I don't think it's 5 because, as far as I can tell, they never made another Sparkle phone. So we'll go with V for now. All the other Android One people seem to have done some sort of variation on the name, like A1 or Uno or whatever. So Carbon kind of broke the mold there on that, I suppose. The phone itself, for $97, is crazy awesome. I played a bunch of 3D games on here. They all run great. It's what the heck is this resolution again? It's like 480 by 840 or something. It's basically what we had on the high-end phones in like 2011. So fairly low resolution panel for nowadays, but
yeah,
but it's $97, so
it's $97, and it's a 4.5-inch screen, so it's not like a teeny screen.
And it has the latest version of Android. Get Lollipop soon.
Exactly, and that is the biggest draw here, besides obviously the price. So you're getting a phone that can pretty much do everything else that every other phone out there does at this point. I think the only thing is NFC that doesn't have that is sort of a major thing. But a lot of Chinese phones don't either, so that's not really anything new, I suppose. And you are getting updates straight from Google. So this thing should have Lollipop, I assume, in the next few weeks. Now that Lollipop is pretty much done. We expect it on the Nexus devices first, and then these things should probably get it pretty soon. So I don't know, maybe if I'm lucky, I'll still have these things when Lollipop drops on them, and maybe I can, check it out on there or something before I get some kind of Lollipop phone. But I don't know. I mean, I've been pretty impressed with it considering the price and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that from other reviewers as well that have done the Android One devices. Is for under $100, that stuff is crazy good.
Yeah, you pretty much can't beat it.
I think it's because those manufacturers only have to worry about hardware because Google is doing the software. They're pushing out the updates. They're doing the auto app updates. All that stuff, so that they just have to worry about hardware. And micro SD cards a lot too, right?
Yes, I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's dual SIM and a micro SD.
I know one of them. You have to have an SD card in there to use the camera.
This one, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird, and I need to look at the box to see if it says it on the box. But I remember turning it on, and I went through a couple things, and I clicked camera, and it literally has a big thing up there that says "Insert micro SD card if you want to use the camera." And I'm like, okay.
I think it's due to the amount of storage it has, because it's like 4 gigs or.
Yeah, it's 4 gigs, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, you can't put apps on the SD card. Well, we could put some, but not many. So I think that's why they'd rather have you put photos on there instead of apps.
Yeah, I guess they had to come up with something, right?
Too.
Yeah. Trying to think if there was anything else. It doesn't work very well on T-Mobile. I could only get Edge no matter where I went. But on AT&T, you get HSPA. So, if you want a cheap under $100 phone and you're on AT&T, pick it up. And then I'll be checking out what is the other one? The Canvas A1. Should be doing that one next week. So we'll talk about that then.
Cool. That's what's up, man. Yeah, and that's exciting to hear because that's what Android One was supposed to be. So I'm glad that it's panning out. That's fantastic.
Me too.
And after those first two phones launched, every manufacturer everywhere decided to jump on Android One. I
Good.
think even Samsung decided to jump on. So it's gonna
Yeah.
be weird to see a Samsung phone without TouchWiz.
This is the way to go. I'm telling you right now, for your budget
Oh yeah.
phones, I really wish they would all do this because there is nothing worse than people buying cheap phones because they don't want to spend the money on it, they can't afford it, whatever their reason is, and then they're stuck on gingerbread for 4 years.
Yep. And
You
if you're
know?
here in the U.S. and you don't want to go with Carbon or Canvas, I think it's the other one that you probably never heard of if you're here in the U.S. Motorola is there with the Moto E and the Moto G, both under 200. Well,
Yep.
129 and 179, I think. And I haven't used the Moto E, but the Moto G, both last year and this year's versions are really good. The battery life actually is almost better than the Moto X.
Yeah. So a lot of good budget phones out there.
Yep.
That's what's up. Well, I've got, let's see. So last week I was out, but I went and bought a G-Watch. Finally. I've only been talking about it for a while. Held off forever. Didn't buy a Pebble. But I went ahead and bought a G-Watch. Best Buy had them on sale. Figured the time was right, the price was right. I couldn't justify spending $300 on a G-Watch R. Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
Probably.
blame you, especially for your first smartwatch. Because
Well,
I didn't even get the G Watch right away. I waited to get a used one because I didn't think I'd use it that much.
How's it look on your wrist?
I don't know how well you can see it. Upside down?
Yeah. No, that's good. I like it. See, I have not seen one in person still. So,
Really?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Like
I don't know anybody that has one.
the G Watch and the 360 are the only ones I see in person, which is so surprising given that there's a Gear Live out there. I don't see even the Tizen gears. I don't even see those.
I've seen 2 or 3 regular gears, and that's it.
Like the only regular gears I've seen are ones that I've had to review.
Yeah.
I don't even see them in the store now. Like I was at the T-Mobile store today and I didn't even see them. There's a big like LG display, but not a big Samsung display, which was kind of amazing.
It's weird.
Nick, go into
Like
Best Buy and look. Because the Best Buys around me, I went in the store. I didn't buy it
Yeah.
online. I went in the store. And they have live Moto 360s on display. And they have dummies of the G Watch and the Gear Live. So you can
Yep.
see, just get a feel for how big they are, what they look like. For me, I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear a watch. I didn't care about the aesthetic. I don't care if it's
Yeah.
round. I don't care about a leather band. I wanted the functionality.
Yep.
So if it looks like a computer on my wrist, that's fine. It's fine.
See, I want the leather band now because after using a rubber one for so long, it started irritating like my wrist. And actually, when I was in New York last week, I had to take it off and put it in my pocket because it was just getting like so itchy and stuff. So the leather band, I haven't had any issues with that. That's why I like it. But they're interchangeable anyway, so that's not a big deal.
right. And there are a lot of people who want a watch to look like a watch.
Yeah.
I don't care. I get questions about it all
I
the time.
do.
Hey, is that one of those smartwatches
Yep.
for
Yeah,
the
I
last
do.
week? That's fine. That's great. I wanted the functionality. It's not
Mhm.
life-changing. I was kind of wondering if it would just like completely blow me away, and it really hasn't. But it's super convenient. Just little things like having notifications. The most convenient thing I found is like watching Netflix or watching something on my TV and being able to pause and play or adjust the volume if I'm in the car listening to a podcast or something and being able to adjust the volume
Yeah, that's
right from my
something.
wrist. Just those little conveniences are really, really
That's
fantastic.
something I forgot to mention with the Android TV is you have like your full controller is on your wrist.
Yeah,
Volume,
see?
play, pause. I mean, it's not like the full controller that comes with it, but pretty much all the main controllers that you want are on there, which is pretty awesome too. And it's a step further than what Chromecast has.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you got to go to the bathroom or you want to go upstairs and get a drink or something, you just
Yeah.
as you're getting up off the couch, you just hit pause on your wrist and keep moving. You don't have to reach for your phone. You don't have to unlock anything.
Yep.
And if you're like walking down the street and you're listening to music and your phone's in your pocket, you have headphones on, just change, your music right there on your watch. Don't have to take it out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just little conveniences. I'm really, really happy with the purchase.
Good.
I also was playing around with, lots of the apps on it. So, there's one that will notify you when it disconnects from your phone. Kind of cool. So I know if I forget my phone in the car when I go in, I get home from work and forget my phone in the center console in my car.
Yeah.
What's the name of that one? I think I've used it before.
I'm going to look it up real quick. I don't remember.
Psych.
Where? Oh,
Where?
where?
Yeah,
Where,
that's
where?
the one.
Yep.
Where?
I used that one, but it annoyed me because whenever I leave my desk, I don't bring my phone with me. And it kept telling me that.
It buzzes at you.
Yeah, because if I go to the other end of the house, it can't connect via Bluetooth, so
So it'll buzz at you. Yeah. But a bunch of those apps, man. The watchmaker was great for just making watch faces. I made just a basic one that has, and I don't know how well you can see it, has the time, it has the date, the day of the week, and the battery life. But I purposely stuck that up in the corner so that it doesn't get in the way of the cards. And it's basic and it doesn't look fancy, but it shows what I need and it doesn't get in the way of the cards when they pop up.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool.
So this is the Android TV remote.
Oh, right.
See it.
Yeah.
But it's basically just home and back. Well, for right now because it's just sitting on idle because I'm not using it right now. But
the other cool app that I found that I purposely went looking for is called Dislock. Dislock. All one word. It's turns your watch into a trusted device. So I'm using a pin on my lock screen again. This app Dislock is really cool because it's not just on your watch. You can also set Wi-Fi networks. So when I'm at home, or if I'm connected to my hotspot when I'm out, doing work, or if I'm connected to my watch, it disables the lock screen. But when I'm not, like last week, we were for those vacation days I took. I was up in the mountains, and I didn't have any signal. I turned off. My phone was in airplane mode, like we were out in the middle of nowhere, and so the phone didn't connect. My watch didn't connect to the phone either because there was no data connection. And so I had a lock screen. Like I was able to test it, and it worked really well. So that was another big thing that I wanted out of a watch was that trusted device functionality. The Dislock app is free for one device, so like you can download it for free and use it with your watch. I paid, I think it's $2.99 to upgrade so that I could add my Wi-Fi networks also. That's a functionality that I actually programmed with Tasker, and with KitKat, something broke and it stopped working, and I never went back and fixed it. So now I've got it again. When I connect to my home Wi-Fi network, it disables the pin. So again, super convenient, more secure than the way I was operating before, and really, really convenient so that I'm actually securing my phone. Those are, I think, the big apps that I'm using with the watch. I'm not seeing anything else that's really catching my eye.
I'm going to use that Dislock one, thank you, because that
Dude,
was
it's
something
huge.
that I've been waiting for, in Lollipop. Because, I absolutely despise using a PIN or anything to have to unlock my phone other than just swiping. But, the security of having that is nice. So, good.
Yep.
I'll
And
give it
it's a
shot.
little bit wonky. Like you have to go in on your phone and enable the PIN, and then go in and set it up on the app. And I had to enable it and disable it a couple times to get it to stick. I emailed the developer and was like, "Help! I can't figure this out." And then, just with playing with it a little bit, got it to work. And then he emailed me back. He's like, "Hey, it looks like everything's working for you. What do you need?" Nothing.
Nice.
Sorry, I jumped the gun. But It was nice to get an email back from him too, support.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But that's that. That was that stuff. The other thing I've got new is this Acer Iconia 8 tablet. So it's an 8-inch tablet, 1920 by 1200 resolution. So we got
Finally,
a
a decent resolution.
1080p screen. Yep. I've been really impressed with this thing. Like I, for the longest time, have sworn off, and I would tell people, don't buy a cheap Android tablet. They're garbage. They're all garbage. Go buy a Nexus 7.
That one's what, 219?
I think it's 170.
I know they have
169.
like 4 different variations, and I know that one has an Intel in there, but I forget what the price was.
Yeah, I
know
think it's
that's not-
170.
I know it's pretty cheap though. And
Right,
Acer cheap tablets usually aren't that good until this one came along.
This is, dude. It's been great. It's been. When I first, my initial thought was, great, a cheap Android tablet. That's going to be fun to review. And that thought was reinforced when I realized that it had an Intel processor in it. I was like, oh, great. So it's definitely going to be crap then. But it's not. It's really not. It's running KitKat 4.4.2. It's got 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of internal storage, 5 megapixel camera on the back. I mean, whatever. I'm not taking pictures with my tablet. So again, it's just a blown up Android, right? Like it's just KitKat. It's my phone's 5.5 inches. The tablet's 8 inches. It's enough of a difference that, you know, if I'm sitting watching something on Netflix, I'll go through Twitter or Instagram on the tablet instead of on my phone. If I were looking to get into the tablet market, or you know, to buy a new tablet for myself, I would seriously consider it, because I'm not a big tablet user. It would just be for light browsing, social networks, and the occasional, you know, web browsing a little bit. And it does all that stuff really well. There's no lag. There's no stutter. I'm really surprised and impressed with what Acer's done with this Iconia Tab 8. So
in the Google keyboard, did it lag like at all, like in setup?
yeah, the setup did lag. Not just in the Google keyboard, but in, like, I had to go in and stop the automatic app download because it was just it was going so slow. There have been a couple times where I've updated apps, and if it has to update more than like 1 or 2 at a time, it gets laggy. So it can't. And I just got it like 2 days ago. I haven't played any games on it yet. I kind of think it's not going to handle heavy gaming very well.
The Dell Venue 8 that I reviewed a few months ago is basically spec the exact same, you know, same processor, same resolution. And when I was doing the setup, I was actually doing an unboxing video, and you could see the lag right there on the video. It was just so bad. You know, I'm pressing buttons on the keyboard, and it's not pressing for like 5-10 seconds later.
Oof.
And when you're trying to put in a password, that's annoying.
Yep. Now, once everything got set up, it's been fine. Like I said, I haven't tried any gaming or any kind of like anything that's using a lot of CPU cycles, and so it's been just for light browsing and social network apps and stuff. It's been fine. And the screen looks good. So that's the other thing, is it's got a 1080p screen. So
yeah, I was kind of surprised at that, because usually they go like 1024 by 768, but they've slowly gotten better. Acer has in the last few years. The first couple Iconia tablets I got from them was, man, they were terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad this one's not. I'm glad that they're, you know, kind of bringing that up. Now, again, I probably wouldn't use it for really heavy use. You know, if I needed anything that required a lot of processing power, at that point, I'm not I'm not expecting that out of any tablet, any device that costs less than $200.
Yeah.
But this one, I've been pleasantly surprised. So that review, I think I'll have that review ready this weekend. Get that up on the site. But yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a good week.
So, real quick, Kindle Fire 6 or that Acer Iconia tablet?
Oh, the Acer tablet, hands down. Only because of the app, because of the apps, because of the ecosystem. Like we were talking about the disparity between Android tablets and iPad apps.
It's even worse between Amazon's Kindle Fire and Android tablets because you have Android apps, but they're not up to date most of the time.
And it's weird trying to find stuff.
That too.
Part of that is because I'm used to the Google Play Store. I'm not used to the Amazon App Store. It's just, but with the App Store, you're buying coins. You're not buying the app, and then you're using the coins to buy the. So it's different than what I'm used to. The Kindle HD6 was fine. My review on the site, my review went up on the site for that last weekend. If you want to go read that, but it was fine. The battery life was definitely better than this Acer tablet, and that's partially because it's a smaller screen and a thicker device. I think the battery's a little bit bigger. I don't know the exact size. I'd have to look it up to remember.
I think Acer does watt hours instead of milliamps. I think Amazon does it too, and so does Apple, but everybody else does milliamps. So it's hard to compare it. Well, for me, it's hard to compare it to other tablets, but people that know the difference probably can do it.
Right? Yeah, you're just converting it. Yeah, that's 17 watt hours on this Acer tablet. I don't remember what it was on the Kindle Fire HD6.
Not sure.
The HD6 is a little bit cheaper. It's only $100, and for $100, it was a decent little tablet.
For $100, if you're deciding between an e-reader from Amazon or Kindle Fire, I would go Kindle Fire HD because
all day.
It's an e-reader plus a bit more. But if it's Kindle Fire HD versus like Acer Konia 8-inch tablet or any other like $200 tablet out there, even getting Blasters Nexus 7 will be better than the Kindle Fire because it still can get updated Lollipop at least.
Yep. So, but yeah, good job Acer on this tablet. But that's gonna do it. It's been a good time talking with you guys. I'm glad to be back. So you can find us on Twitter at Android Headline without the S, on Facebook and Google Plus. Alex, I gotta congratulate you on this. Take a quick note. You made like a top 10 list of best tech people to talk to on Google Plus. About a week and a half ago.
That was a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Before we leave, we have a special guest next week.
Oh my gosh, and we should have let off with this, man. I'm super excited. We've got Jean-Baptiste Corot. I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation because I don't speak French. JBQ. JBQ is going to be on the Android Headline Show next week. Oh my gosh. So he was the guy in charge of AOSP at Google. He left there about a year ago, went to Yahoo. He's in charge of Yahoo's mobile apps. All of Yahoo's mobile apps have gotten way better since he's been over there.
Yeah, no coincidence there.
No, not at all. This is a big deal, man. We are really, really excited. So the show's going to be at 9 instead of 9:30 next week because he'll be on. So we had to tweak the time a little bit. But yeah, we'll be asking him questions. I think he's going to be with us for like 45 minutes. So we got a bunch of questions to ask him, and well, so excited. So excited. So yeah, definitely tune in next week. We'll be pushing that on the site too. But Nick, Alex, thanks for hanging out, man. It's always fun.
Good to have you back.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
See everybody next week.
Have a good night.
Later.